Right, so simple stories, but really it's about simple moments. What do I mean by that? You see, unfortunately, what it's really about, the one word I'm not terribly keen on, I don't know. I think it's, even though I used it myself a lot a year and a half ago, or that winter, processing. I wonder if she copied it from me. Anyway, processing. You gotta live the shit. You've gotta. We'll come back to that. Simple stories is actually about. It's almost like you've got two aspects of Zen, if we must, that are at extremes. Simple moments is when you know that the simple life, getting your life simplified such that it genuinely is total Zen, total peace, total great energy, is when, as 15 minutes ago coming down here, I remembered, before I swap over that battery, get the last squirt out of it. It's like I'm getting a squirt out of the battery, it's dead anyway, so I'm going to swap it in 20 minutes. I can still get a bit of a squirt. It's just got enough power to run the AC inverter. But here's a better example. And this sounds horrible, but I don't give a shit. I know what I'm about. So 20 minutes ago, a couple walks up here. Now, you have a lot of kind of 50, 60-year-old retired people down here who they've invested everything in they've made their money probably brokering arms or selling off the National Health Service down in the southeast, and they come and recreate themselves, and I can see that. I mean, it's just I know what they're like. I've been encountering them for many years. They perform. So you have a 65-year-old couple coming up quite early with a dog. They've always got their status dog, and they're dressed so, I mean, I have the same clothes. Oh, that's another one in a moment. They're so dressed against the elements. Expensive clothing. Now they walk past here, and the guy, and it's always the same with these people, he's looking at me. They're middle class. It's like, what I mean by that is they have empty lives. Why should I be of any interest? Parked here. But this is a moment when you're strong enough, fantastically rested, absolutely as content as can possibly be. I just stare ahead as if they don't exist. I have nothing. I want to do things. I want to perhaps write something useful, etc. It's like your empty lives. I can tell they've given up. Their life is just about performing. Oh, we made it. We made it to this beautiful, totally trashed playground, retirement park, and we're all right now. And we got time to engage with you. Sorry, I have no interest in you, because unfortunately all sorts of paradigms have caused the sewage system to be so overwhelmed with the chemicals that blah blah blah. But that's a simple moment, feeling so zen, so centered, so at peace, and that's the problem. I think you have to earn it. You've got to have got involved. You've got to have done your best, even if it's all totally failed. More simple moments. Simple moments. Well, simple moments is being able to remember. Like this morning. It's gone cold. So I know tonight I'm going to need to wear a jumper in bed. But if I wear this one in bed, which is my favourite one, it gets scrunched and damaged. But this is a thinner one, I've got a thicker one, but if I wear this one with this over it, it doesn't get scrunched. So I've saved time by putting these 2 items on this morning, because I know it's going to be, I've already checked, I've got it in my head, it's going to be 5 degrees tonight. It's going to be better to have 3 layers, 3 thinner layers, and this over this, that won't get out of place. So it's about simple moments. So at the one end of the scale, if you've reached the super zen, super kind of genuinely mindful state, that's such a vomit word. If you really are, if you've reached your Siddhartha point, mind you, Siddhartha didn't do anything useful in the world, really, did he? I don't know. I've done my bit. It's about peace. If you're truly at peace, but then also the other thing that I wrote about this morning, probably not very well, but if you really have done your best, I mean, I've still been kind of nudging people into useful alliances, not causes, but just, hey, it'd be good to find people kind of to have. I mean, we reached such an interesting point in society by spring 2021. It's like we've particularly green people, and none of them could say this. We've had all this time. We've had all this spare time, and half of them, not me, are getting fucking bounce back loans. I applied for mine about 7 times, and I totally qualified, and yet the admin was so appalling. I could have had a couple of grand bounce. Anyway, many of them they've got a little bit of a financial cushion. They've got all this time. They don't have to commute to Worcester or Oxford from the marches to keep on earning their southern money. So use that time. Figure on what do we really got to do about this fucking environment, which in the marches, all the rivers, Usk, Wye, Arrow, Tame, have I missed one? Clun, are all fucked. What are we going to do? Nobody even communicated among the people who, I had them on the CO2 Gurus Facebook. Nobody communicated. Let's take time now. Let's use this time productively. Nope, you've done your best. How did I get onto that? Right, so yes, you've done your best. You also know there's no hope. Yeah, that's a bit more complicated. Blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, I mean, even. Oh, here's another simple moment. I remembered to sit on my pillow. Because if I sit cross-legged here without a pillow, now I did the silliest, I mean, it's funny, I laugh at myself. In July, I was on low bar and I was feeling so, well, sort of pretty good. I thought, I'm going to make a video of myself doing handstands and send it to her. I'm much fitter than a person of my age, but I fell over and twisted my knee and it's still a bit painful. But if I sit on my cushion like this, it's all right. It just doesn't quite put the pressure on it. So I've got a injury of, I'm injured, I'm bodily fuckerated from being a tosspot. Anyway, but I remembered when I came forward, bring the pillow so I can sit cross-legged here. I love sitting like that, like this. See, it's another moment. It's like my head is so calm, so totally focused on nothing, because there is nothing, but okay, that I remembered to bring my cushion. I remembered this has got a squirt in. Strong enough just to, I'm not even going to look at you, okay? And the woman's dolled up a bit for fucking walking in the morning in the middle of the countryside. There's nothing. I just I'm aside. Strong enough to be aside. And then, the thing this morning of feeling absolutely fantastic after a bug has receded. And very smug that yesterday morning at 6 a.m. I got a free bath, so I don't have to worry about that for 3 or 4 days. And I did a little beating of the system that was magnificent. Now those are complications. So it's like you've got simple stories. It's unfortunately, the stories are all that great big fucking odyssey that you have to go through to survive the... One good thing, I've been saying for a while, that it's like the good thing about after 2021 is, well, the last year, there are things you can say that you weren't allowed to say 5 years ago, and I'm quite good at having those conversations with people. I don't want controversy. I just want to find what are the truths of contemporary existence. Because if you don't know the truths, you can't say anything useful about, hey, here's some thoughts. Younger people, stop going on about your fucking body. You know, you're all doing it continually, and it's real. It is you. Anyway, that's a possible one to change, I guess. But a year ago, there are things that you could start to say, and one of them, it's gone now. One of them. I had a good example. It's gone now. I'll remember it later. I should turn the camera off then and save doodah. So you have your simple moments, the moments that prove to you. I mean, remembering that battery, it sounds so pathetic, but remembering, I don't normally remember. I've got 10 minutes left, maybe even 20 minutes left. The battery's so dead, because when it's cold, they just don't last overnight. They don't keep a bit of charge. That had been charged up for 20 minutes running yesterday afternoon, left in the engine, and this morning it was just dead. But it's still got 20 minutes. So remembering that you've got that little chunk there. In other words, you're kind of in a mode of, your mind is so fully functional. I know what I was going to say. Yes. So it's the simple moments that prove that unfortunately it's about going through the pillars of bloody Hades, etc., surviving, and also coming out with some useful insights, wisdom, things to pass on. But nobody can listen because of 2020 just sent everybody 95% of women. They're still fucking going on about the pandemic. You still hear it. You're still hearing it. It's just like, mind you, I used it slightly to my advantage yesterday. Anyway, yes, that. Oh, there it goes. That means the battery is totally dead. It can't even keep the inverter going. Yeah, that thing of I felt that buzz joy, that real buzz joy of, my bug's gone. My system is back to super feeling great. Now, if you've got all those little things distracting at you and you don't even know they're there, you really do have to chuck away. I know, I've got something else to say. To chuck away most of your life because it's too difficult. Even me, I'm a genius at dealing with everything. And I am. That sounds horribly arrogant, but I am. I've always been like that. I can deal with stuff. I'm so methodical. I never let things ever floor me. Ever. They don't, miraculously. And yet there's just stuff you can't deal with. The simple life is about having lived and dealt with the shit, if you have shit. In fact, the great conclusion, I was driving down here thinking, I really would say this now. A certain lady is far wiser than me. I wonder why she never had kids. But to have had kids in this fucking lost society is stupid. It's totally stupid. What was I doing? It's the most beautiful, magnificent, real love, but it's stupid. Anyway, so she's wiser than me. But keeping back to that point of, if you've dealt with everything, if you've done that's unfortunately part of the simple life. You also have to be free to deal with your shit as the shit of other people and warped, bizarre society to your best. You've got to do it all the way. And if you have failed, well, you know that the simple life, you are tuned into the simple life when you remember these things. You remember that. Okay, what's the silly guy going on about? He could have just changed before bed. Well, I always generally wake up at 6 o'clock or even earlier, and I might be too tired, too lazy, but I've done it now. It's a cold day, so I'm going to need 3 layers anyway. And being so free, so undistracted that you are in touch with that great feeling that comes along when you've recovered from a bug, which I didn't really have this quite space and capacity the last 5 or 6 years. I kind of missed it. I thought it had gone forever. I thought, right, I'm now so old that that's never going to happen again. I'm never going to have that moment, as I had this morning, a couple of hours ago. Wow, I feel great. The fucking bug's gone. But what does that mean? You see, it's the stories, you see, they're not fun. The getting, for the first time in 5 years, I get a text. I actually called my daughter, and she actually accidentally, she must have changed her phone, and maybe I was blocked on the old one. I actually, hello, is your dad? Hang up. But then I said to text 10 minutes later, and we actually got a little bit of text ping pong for the first time in nearly 6 years. Is it 6 years? 6 years. Yep, 6 years. 5.5 years back then. And then I get a kind of, well, I need time and space. Do you know what? No, you don't. Now, that's kind of almost against the rules of digital is horrible. But actually, no, you don't, because there's nothing to have time and space for other than I happen to be your only male blood relation. So what's the problem? A little bit of ping pong. Oh, I came up. I was up here. She was up here. Let's talk about here. It's like, have you been to Low Bar? No, and then it all fizzles because it's like, if somebody else is so damaged, stuck, fucking hell, you just do, stop the kind of, they've all been trained. I need my space bubble. I need my space time. Bullshit. If there'd been some huge, great event which needs processing, but I'm lucky. Well, my daughter can't listen. She's lucky. There's nothing to process other than one stupid outside influenced negative event, more negative for her. But there we go. Yeah, so you got to deal with all your shit, and then you reach a point and you just say, fuck it, I've done my best, and then you sleep 9 hours as I did last night, and you can have it's those simple moments when it's like, do you know what I haven't remembered all the last 3 or 4 months? Even with my super simple life, I've still got a squirt of power left in that battery. I don't like running the engine, so it's better I've charged this phone. Had I not remembered that battery had a squirt of power in, my phone might have gone dead by now. It's the simple moments which show that the simple adequately dealing with one's existential or just being a human being in this fucked up society, angst or whatever, that even I have had a little bit of it clawing away at my psyche, my consciousness, even though I, unlike everybody else, do tons of walking, super healthy existence. Yeah, it's still in there. It's like a static. It's a static. I realised this about 15 years ago. It's a static. When you need stuff, you need love to be successful. It has a cost of like a static around your psyche. And when it's gone, or you've lost, the static goes, which is the greatest paradox of human existence of all. I've already written an essay about that, but I'll rewrite that one. Anyway, there we go. But that is the simple life. Yeah, it's the moments which prove that you've reached that super simple, hey, I haven't got any concerns in the world point. And I don't. Other than I know in every single, this is the year 6 months ago, even the fucking government came out with single people have to pay. I think it's actually in truth about 40% more if you look at across the board at everything. Your insurance is cheaper if you're married or a civil partnership. Blah, blah, blah. Except for that, which is just, well, it's more than a practical. But anyway, apart from that, it's like, I've done everything I can. I got no worries at all. So, then your mind is clear. And I mean, he's saying this, I have £200 in my bank for 3 weeks, and in 6 weeks, I go illegal. Do you know what? Because MOT, it's going to be an easier MOT this year, but my engine could break at any time, my gearbox could break at any time. It's just, but I already discovered a year and a half ago that when these terrible crises come along, I had a minor problem in the engine that nobody could fix for 9 months. The shabby men of this society, 5 or 6 of them, some were paid. When these crises happen, that was the best thing that happened to me. That without being stationary, stuck, I wouldn't have encountered at least one person who's like, hey, keep on keeping on because there's an interesting person out there. I would not have encountered her had I not been stuck prior to November 2022 for 3 months. Just stuck. Like, I'm stuck. I can't afford a new engine if that's what it's going to take. No, it's totally stuck getting into new, better habits of lots of walking and just pondering, blah, blah, blah. And that sounds like a load of toss. But yeah, the simple stories. It's, I've got to do it better than that. But that demonstrates what the simple life really is. Yeah, even, you see, my simple life is these are my good glasses. My paid for a year ago prescription, only minor, reading glasses. I don't lose anything. I have 2 pairs of glasses there, which are not quite as good, but I found them dropped. One left on a bin. Okay, those ones I use more often because I don't want to put too much wear and tear on my better ones. I get my better ones out if I've got to look at these horrible devices. Generally, I will just pull these ones down, which are not quite as good, but they get the wear and tear on them. These are the simple techniques to keep, this 100 quid's worth of glasses, 60 quid or 70 quid's worth of glasses. I don't want to put any more strain on them than is necessary because everything falls to bits in this crappy age. The end.